Okay, so today we would like to discuss Unit 5, that is project preparation, and what are the things included in that. But before we go into the project preparation unit, there are one point which is left from Unit 4, that is we need to understand what is globalization and liberalization with related to MSMEs. Okay, so we will discuss both of them one by one, and then we will go to the Unit 5 of project preparation. Okay, so what is mean by first of all globalization, right? That the word is very a common word to us, and even the liberalization word, but we need to understand these two words or terms with respect to MSMEs. Okay, so let me try to give a quick overview about it so that you will be able to explain this in your own words. If the question is, write a short note on globalization or the liberalization based or related to the MSMEs. Okay, so let me first understand what is globalization, right? The word is globalization, right? These two words are having we divide the time frame into two categories, that is pre-globalization era and post-globalization era. So this time frame, right, there is no exact date of globalization, right, but it is to be more or less believed or decided that 1990s and 91, in that range, right, after that the globalization has started. And so that is the time frame where 1990s, before that is called pre-globalization, and the globalization started during 1990s and 91 onwards, and the post-globalization era. So these are the two things we would like to compare and understand what globalization has done to MSMEs and what are the impacts of those on MSMEs, their business, their everything about it. So what is the meaning of globalization? It is, right, I am able to do business with anyone in this universe or any country. I can share the technology with anyone. I can share the raw materials required with anyone. I can go and do any collaboration with any company anywhere in the world. Okay, so that is the term called as globalization. What are their impacts? Impacts are, the market become very broad. Okay, market become very broad, resources become enormous, right? Anybody also can come and sell it here or do collaboration with any company in our country, and vice versa. So what has happened in this process? There was a huge technology exchange. Okay, there was a huge rise in the competition. There was huge rise in the product qualities, right? These are the things which has started in 1990s onwards, and it's still going on in today's scenario. So these are the things which globalization started, and what impact does it have on MSMEs. Now take an example where there is a small industry in a small city like Belgaum, right? They are manufacturing some auto spares, auto ancillary factory, and they want to sell it to some European car manufacturers, which is far from here, right? This globalization has helped to do that. A small company can export the content of their whatever finished product to any person in this world of any country, and they can import the technology from there to manufacture that, right? It was very difficult before the globalization was at the beginning, or not there, to be on very specific. And that is the reason why these people got a broader market today, and they can sell their product anywhere they want. They can have any business partners. They can do align. They can have an MOU with other companies, right? All those became a single platform, right? Only geographically they are away from each other, but as a business model, they can come together to help each other and have a better finished product. So this is the what globalization did. Now there are some negative points also, that when this happened, a smaller companies, very smaller companies, may be underruled or ruled by the bigger companies in this scenario. Like you have seen many foreign companies came into Indian market, right? Obviously the smaller people who cannot afford to compete with these people, right? They have to suffer because of that. Either way, they have to improve their quality and costing of the product what they are selling, and the efficiency also. So those who are able to do this, they are in a better place, they are doing well, but those who fail to do this have equally suffered also. Okay, so these are the things which has happened. Take an example of the ball pen what we give, which comes at 3 rupees from the neighboring country, right? If Indian manufacturer is not able to manufacture at that pricing or costing, right, his business is going to go down, because people will feel cheaper to buy that product, right? So in all this globalization process on MSME, the most beneficial person is the end consumer, because he got lot of products, lot of variety, lot of competition in the costing process, and that is how he is being benefited. Okay, so the MSME has a positive impact, that they can collaborate with anyone, they can have a business partner with anyone, anywhere from any country. They can exchange the technology, they can exchange their businesses, they can have MOUs, all that, but equally the competition has grown up, right? So they have to meet the competition level and try to on par with the bigger companies. Okay, so it started the race, right? In a sense, the positive race to excel, to progress, right? And the broader markets have changed, and the whole world is open for you to do the business. Of course, there are some restrictions by individual countries and all other things, but on broader platform, right, they can do all those things. And that is why you see all the MNC brands, multinational companies, they started coming to India, and Indian companies started going to the other countries, right? So things are different, and that is how the exchange of goods, technology, anybody can invest in the company, that is FDI, foreign direct investments into the business, right? All that has started post 1991 and onwards. Okay, so that is globalization on a bigger platform. Okay, so the second part is on liberalization. Okay, this is a term, now we are relating it to the economic policies. Okay, liberalization, it is liberated. Okay, all the rules, regulations are relaxed for any country to come and sell, and vice versa. Okay, why we are able to sell all our Indian products into other markets? Because earlier there was a ban on selling. You cannot sell your product into any countries. Country said, don't come and ban here. I mean, don't come and sell here. We don't want your products, because our own manufacturers are getting affected by that. But then there was a monopoly in the business. Okay, right? There were no competition. Positive, successful competition was missing, and that is how the country has opened up their policies. Right? We will come to your country. We will sell our product. You come to our country and sell your product. Will not charge you. Right? That's what the word, relaxing the rules, regulation, and taxation on those products to come and sell here. Right? So that is the liberalization what has brought into it, and that is the reason why there is a normal treaty among these countries, where we can exchange our goods as import export. This has increased the import export of each and every country, okay, and because they got a bigger market, bigger consumer base, right, and that is why you see now, you can imagine a small country like a small city like Belgaum, where you get all the MNC product these days, right? There is hardly few things which you don't get it. I'm talking about smaller country. Forget about metros and other. You get everything what you want, which are available in the other country with small pricing differences and there. But now it is available. So that is the outcome of liberalization and related to the economic policy. Of course, no country does it free of cost. There is small amount of taxation on those products, right? You have seen recently a trade war between US and China, right? Few products were taxed heavily by one country to counterattack the other country tax heavily. We don't want your product, you don't take our product. These all sort of things what we have seen in last few months or year, you can say. So this is liberalization, where I am able to produce or manufacture X product in one place and able to sell in any country I wish, with minimum restrictions, minimum rules, regulation that I have to follow, and that is a liberalization. Again, these two terms are again, they started, the starting point of these two is again taken to be reference. There is no exact date that from this date globalization started, from this date this, of course there are few treaties signed between them, but 1990s and onwards these two terms have started their journey, and before 1990 we call before globalization, post globalization. So again, what happened with the liberalization? The demand has increased of the product because now consumer base is enormous. All countries can be, people of all countries can be the consumer for that product, right? Where I can go and sell. I have to see the need of what people need in that particular geographical area. I can manufacture according to that and export there and sell it there, so that I run my business successfully. Earlier, I was selling only to a one company in one city. Now I can sell my product to all the cities in the other countries also, right? That has brought a broader, that has brought the business, and that has resulted in uniform distribution of wealth, right? Monopoly has gone down, right? Earlier, you can see, I can give an example. If there is only one dealer of one product in the city, he starts doing monopoly, right? Because customer has no other choice. If I want that product, I have to go to him only, right? So there was a monopoly there. This can be misused, or the behavior against the customer might be arrogant or sort of that. Now, if the company appoints second dealer in the company, the healthy competition starts, right? Because now if you don't give me service properly, I am going to go to the another person, because now I have a choice of two people for the same product. This is the outcome of this globalization and liberalization, that end customers got variety of choices, range of products, range in pricing, right? All that was made available, and that is how the currency flow has increased among various countries. That has built some good relations with some countries, exchange of technology, even exchange of manpower from one country to a lot of Indians got job outside the other countries. Lots of other country people came into India. So there is a socio-economic bounding between the countries, right? When you trade with someone, you obviously develop some sort of, a bond with those people, right? And that is how we bring them into that bounding where we together grow in that, right? Now, because of these two things, there are so many smaller companies who sell to the companies in Germany. A small unit, you don't even imagine that this is a company which is exporting to Germany now, right? A auto spare or any pharma product, whatever it can be, you are able to do that. So, of course, there were few negative points with that because it increased the competition, and the MSME has to bear that healthy competition. I mean, in the long run it is good, but at instant, see, I am manufacturing one auto spares at 100 rupees, and some company in Europe is manufacturing and exporting here at 50 rupees, right? Same product, 150. Now I am in danger. Either I have to do the cost cutting and manufacture it at that, or I have to shut down the unit, because now it is available. Who will buy for 100 rupees, right, for 50 rupee product? Of course, quality again is a matter of concern, right? The durability of that is again a question, but if you still justify that it is still worth 100 rupees, it's going to have a life double of that, right? At least you have to prove that, right? So this has brought a healthy competition. Some also have suffered in this, who are unable to cope, right? Who want to enhance their product quality. They may need funding, they may need capital, you know, they need credit to do that. If they don't get, then they suffer for this, right? But overall, anything which starts has got positive outcomes, negative outcomes, but definitely this has brought a more broader platform to sell the technology, to sell the product, to do the business across the globe, right? So this is what has brought. Of course, there should be mutual understanding between the countries, right? So that whatever they do, taxation on them is at the between the magnitude of business what two countries are doing. Okay, so these are the two things. I hope you have got an idea about what is these two terms, and this is the last part in unit 4, which is impact of globalization and liberalization on MSMEs in Indian scenario. Okay, so the impact overall was good because it gave us a huge scope for products to sell. Equally, it brought the competition, right? Some have suffered economically because of that, right? This has also gave a lot of job employment, because I was selling in Belgaum 100 products per day. Now I got an export order of 500 products per day. So what happens? I need to increase my production. I need more labor. So where labor I'm going to hire? I'm going to hire from the people around the unit, and the people got more job, right? Their standard of living has increased, right? The company has grown, right? This is one side of that. But as I said, if there is a healthy competition and I am unable to meet that competition, people have suffered because of that, because now there is no demand for that particular product. So either you have to improve your product or your costing and come on par with the manufacturers across the globe. So that has enhanced all these things, right? In due process, some might have suffered, but overall there was a good impact on the economy and the health of MSMEs. Okay, so this is one thing what you can conclude of both these terms. Now we go back to unit number 5, which is a project preparation, and we would like to understand what is all about this. Okay, preparation of project, right? We'll go to the definitions of first project and then go back to this. So what does it says? That is a definition 1. I think this part is been slightly cut by the camera, so I'll read it for you. The definition 1 is the smallest unit of investment activity to be considered in the case of programming. So what it says, it is an economic activity which you need to prepare how you are going to do a particular activity from economic point of view, from where the money is going to come, where you are going to invest, what are the things you are going to do, what is the time frame of that. So this is what the definition 1 says. Then second definition, the World Bank has defined project as approval for a capital investment to develop facilities to provide goods and services. Okay, so this is a definition put forth by World Bank, which says it is a approval. So you are applying for some funds for a particular activity that is related to the service and goods, and the capital investment required for that particular activity. Again, how much you need, for what sake you need, the subdivision of economic divisions, what is the time frame, what is the outcome of that. So this is what, as per the World Bank, it says. Then the third definition, the project is an appraisal for investment with the definite aim of producing a flow of output over a specific period of time. So this is a time frame diagram, right? That this is the activity, this is the outcome, this is the capital required, and these are the different steps involved in this. So it is what the definition 3 says. Then fourth definition, a project is defined as a whole complex of activities involved in using resources to gain benefit. Okay, so it says it has got number of steps, complex activity, this investment, this process, that process, right? All sort of this. Like, take an example of providing drinking water to a villages as a project, right? Providing clean drinking water to the villages in the summer season or otherwise. So it is a complex project, right? It's a big task, right? You should understand how it can be done, how many villages are there, how many villages need this, what is the source of water, how you are going to purify it, what is the cost of it, what is the investment, what is the maintenance, what is the time frame required to do this, right? So this is a complex problem or solution, and how much money you need this, that is how you are going to prepare a project report, right? Based on the data, all this is required. So this is more meaningful, that is unit 4, that is definition 4. Fifth one is also gives you a clear idea. A project can be defined as a scientifically evolved work plan devised to achieve a specific objective within a specified period of time, right? So this has got a real technical meaning to understand. What it says, a project can be defined as scientifically evolved. It's not a random theory, right? It's not a random theory, right? It is a scientifically evolved, so with facts and figures, evolved work plan devised to achieve specific objective. So objective is fixed. I want the final outcome this. Okay? So all with facts and figures and data, what we are within a specific time period of time. So there is a time bound for this. So it would be a good definition which you can generate as a sixth one, that you combine 4 and 5, right? Keeping this same, you can add to that as complex activity to definition number 5. So it is a complex activity, scientifically evolved with the certain time frame, keeping in mind certain specific objective as an outcome, right? That is what we can define it as a project, right? So there are various projects which undergo on different magnitude level, at city level, country level, you know, small village level, your house level, magnitudes are different, but this is what the meaning of a project. Now, when you know the definition and when you are asked to do a preparation for project, this is very simple to 3 lines I am writing the definition of project, but when I am actually writing the report, right, I need lot of information, data, statistics, right, numbers, all that. So when I say scientifically evolved, right, when I say I am providing drinking water to this village, now I need where is the availability of water, right, what is the geographical area of that particular village, right, how I will purify it. All these are scientific data which I need facts and figures. So I need to gather all that information, because at the end I need how much time I need to complete this, how much investment is required to do this, what are the resources required to do this, what are the human power I need this. All that has to have a clear cut idea on papers. The project has not yet started, but when you want to propose any project, all these need to be on paper. That is a grassroots level planning, what you say, and that planning you are going to pen down and prepare a thorough report about it, because that should be that once it gets approved, that needs to be executed. So later on you cannot say that no, this is what, no. You should have a clear idea on paper. Once that is prepared, you may have to go iterations, again rethink, refine, right, then come to the final conclusion that this is the document which is done. For example, when the Aadhaar card project was launched across the country, right, they had done a thorough preparation of that project. How you will scan the data, how you will take the data from individuals, what will be their centers, where that data is going to store, how that is going to be utilized, where is the server, how much manpower you need, how many centers you need, what is the investment for the equipments required, how many employees you need to hire for this, how can we make this online process, right? All sorts of flow of that entire project stepwise, right? It's documented and then it was executed after the approval, right? So I'm giving you a very complex project of UID, what was taken up across the country, right? It's a big project, creating a database, maintaining the authenticity of that data, right? It is so easy now. You go anywhere, you just give your thumb biometrics, your entire data comes there, your photo, address, phone number, whatnot. So how this was executed and planned, right? This is where the preparation of project was done on the papers. Okay, so these are few definitions in this regard we would like to go through. Okay, so this is, so when you are starting any company or smaller enterprises, you have certain product in mind that I'm going to manufacture this, or I'm going to have a software this, and then that is how you start, right? This is required what for a startup. What is your product? What is your plan for next 6 months? What you are going to see? So where is the raw material you are coming from? What is the cost of raw material? Where you are doing the finishing to this machining process? How much it requires? What is the time frame required? What are the potential customer base you are going to target? Right? What will be the costing done? What will be the profit margin? How many labors you require? What type of machinery you need? Right? All those, the person, entrepreneur who is there, he has in mind, right? He need to prepare that, right? And then all is required the investment. Somebody has to invest, he himself or some institute, some individual has to put on money for the entire project to get executed. Otherwise, it won't happen. Right? I simply go to a banker and I say, I'm manufacturing a new car, give me 10,000 crore. Right? Will he believe me? No. But if I go with a document, each and everything planned, right? What difference is my product from the existing product now? If I show him, maybe he will think on that, what is this new? But if I simply say, no one will believe. So I need a proper planning in that. Okay. So preparation of project is your planning execution in a systematic manner on paper. So you need a footprint of, if I start today, where I will be 1 year, 2 year down the line, what are the challenges, what I'm going to face, all that comes in that project preparation. Okay. So so this is an entrepreneur, before he set up an enterprises, want to satisfy himself that it is a profitable proposition. He wants to gather critical information and take decision pertaining to various facts. Technical arrangement, plant and machinery, market, financial arrangements, location, right? Statutory clearances from the local authorities and other things, right? So once he prepares the project, he has to get himself convinced, right? Yes, this is possible, this is feasible, right? These are the challenges, these are the easy path, where I am good at it, right? All those are challenges faced by these people, and this is where it gives you the clear picture in his mind that yes, I can go ahead with all the data available. So project report is an outcome of an exercise meant to check the viability of the enterprises and analyze and understand the essential parameters. So once the report is prepared, he will come to know within himself, yes, whether I can go ahead, whether it is feasible or it's not working at all, right? It is better to know that there is a failure percentage is very large. If you come to know at the beginning of this planning, right, either you may change your plan or you may take necessary corrective action, right, so that it becomes viable and feasible, right? So I need to understand myself if I am starting a new enterprises. Okay, so the various phases of project report document is the business plan. What is the business plan, right? Then feasibility report, techno-economic feasibility report, and viability. Okay, so these are the 4 aspects in which your entire planning is going to get concentrated, right? So business plan is sustainable business plan, right? Sustainable is very important to have a sustainable business plan which goes a longer away, more ethical business, right? That is one thing. Then feasibility, how much is feasibility of it, how much is in an easy way I can execute that business. Techno-economic, right? You need a technology, you need a economics. So can we meet both of them? In today's scenario, you want to upgrade your technology, you need money for that, right? You want to save on cost cutting, you need to upgrade to technology, your profits are increasing. So you use more of a technology, you need a more investment, but on the other hand, you may also increase your profitability, right? But you need to invest first and then the profitability comes. So need to balance those 2 aspects. So that is the feasibility of techno-economic feasibility and viability. Okay, so these are 4 things any business project plan has to meet, and within yourself you should be, satisfied with the outcomes of each and every phase of that project report. The moment you find that yes, here we are going to face difficulty, then before you start a business, you need to modify the business plan, come up with a better solution, right? So it is sort of in the engineering world, it is similar to what you do simulation. Okay, so preparation of project is nothing but a virtual simulation of your business. How you are going to analyze the things, what are the disturbances coming into the process, and how you overcome that. How we simulate one's electrical circuit. We don't buy the components and do and invest. We just see on system whether it will work, what output I get, what input, what are the disturbances, what is the end product. All that we simulate, and then we go for actual hardware implementation of that, exactly the similar way, some sort of thing what we are going to do it. So this preparation of project, you can correlate with your simulation of electrical circuits or any circuit what we do it. Okay, so this is in line with that. So already these 5 definitions we have seen, that is about the business plan, and according to me, definition 4 and 5, if we combine, that becomes more or less a perfect definition about the project. Okay, after examining all the definitions of a project, it is important to note that while projects can differ in their size, nature, objective, time duration, and complexity, yet they have following 3 attributes. Okay, so the report, the project can be of 1 lakh, 10 lakh, 1 crore, 10 crore. Still, it should have certain skeleton, certain index, which generally we would like to go through. Those are course of action, specific objective, definite time, prospective period, right? Because in today's scenario, right, time is very, very important. You are manufacturing a very, very good product, right? That good product definition is good as on date today. And if that product is made available after 2 years, it may not be a good product. By the time so many things have advanced, and that now that good product as on date today is out of date when it actually gets comes into the market. So when you say a product, the time frame is very crucial in these days. You start your project planning, preparation, execution, and within 1.5 years your product comes out, right? Somebody has already done within 6 months, and he has captured all the market. He has improved the product also. You are still into the first stage of testing or something like that, right? Then you miss your train, right? Your business is no more existing. The other person has taken up all the things. So time frame is very, very important, and that is going to decide about the entire the enterprise outcomes. So every project, what they say is, has a start point and end point, and the time frame for that, with the objective what you have decided. So these are the things: starting point, end point, time frame, with the objective meeting what is in your mind. So this is what about the any project report, which will be more or less having the skeleton. Then characteristics of project. 4 basic characteristics every project. I'll read out. The first few words are not visible here. So first one is investment pattern, then benefit or gain, time limit, and location. Okay, so investment pattern, benefit, what you are going to get, how much time you need, and where you are going to execute this, that is a location. So investment pattern is very, very important. How you need an investment? Do you need a heavy investment at the beginning, or you need an investment as on when the product starts getting developed, right? So you need not have to pay heavy credit interest on investment. I need only 20% now. Let me start, let me finish that work, then I take another 20. Or your process is such that it needs 100% funding at the beginning, otherwise I cannot start, right? So I need to also know the investment pattern in which how much magnitude and when all I need, and what are the sources available for that investment pattern to meet, right? Benefits or gain, obviously the end point, how much time you need, and of course the location is also very, very important. So these are the characteristics of a project. These are general guidelines. Okay, then the classification of projects. This is the classification of project. They are classified on the following basis. That is a major classification. They are classified into three categories: quantifiable and non-quantifiable project, sectoral project, and techno-economic projects. Okay, so this is a three classification, right? I think we will take that into the next lecture, and we'll continue from here about further what all things in the project classification as well. So to summarize today's lecture, we started with globalization and liberalization aspects, and what are their effects on MSMEs, and how they have brought the changes in MSMEs before 1990s and after 1990s till date, and how significantly they have changed the scenario on MSMEs. What are good points about it, and what are the things that they have suffered also, right? And more or less few may have a mixed response about it, but in general it has increased the level of efficiency, it has increased the level of refinement in products. Customers are more happy because they have variety and bigger range of products available, different features are available, and it just actually, if the end customer is happy and satisfied, that's the objective of any company, that people are happy with their end product, and that's what MSME is looking and struggling for. So if their customer base is happy, obviously they are going to get a good business, and that is how they are going to run their company. So this is where for today's lecture and tomorrow's